podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Friday, the day before we travel to the City Ground to take on Nottingham Forest. And I was just looking, and it's been a long time since Liverpool won at the City Ground. Now, the biggest reason for that is that they were out of the Premier League for 23 years and we didn't play them in that time. We have beaten them in the FA Cup at the City Ground. We did that in the 21-22 season. But in the league, it's been a while. So obviously last season, we lost there 1-0. In 1999, which was the previous league visit there, we drew 2-2. In 97, we drew 1-1. In 96, we lost 1-0. In 95, we drew 1-1. In 93, we drew 0-0. In 92, we lost 1-0 and drew 1-1. In 91, we lost 2-1. In 1990, we drew 2-2. In 88, we lost 2-1. In 87, we drew 1-1. In 85, we drew 1-1. 1983 is the last league win at the City Ground that I can find. 31st of December 1983. Which, that doesn't seem right to me. It seems like we should have beaten them more regularly, but I'm looking at the head-to-head list and that's the last recorded victory there for us in a league match, unless I've missed something. That's 41 years ago. Now, again, over half of that, they're not in the division. We're not playing them every year, but they were a team that we did struggle against. Oh, sorry, we beat them in 84. We beat them 2-0 in 84 as well, 28th of October, 84. But we did struggle with them. I remember growing up, Forest were always kind of one of the bogey teams, and like a lot of the older lads would say, oh, they're a rival, and we didn't like them. And it came down, I believe, to how when we won our first European Cup, then they won back-to-back, and they knocked us out one of the years, and that was sort of the real beginning of a rivalry. And obviously Clough was an incredible manager. We had Bob Paisley, so arguably the two best English managers of all time going head-to-head at that time. And they won one league title, two European Cups. They won a couple of league cups as well under Clough. And we were the dominant team in Europe, winning 4 European Cups in, an 9-year span, as well as a UEFA Cup, multiple league cups, and everything else that came along with what we were doing. So none of that is relevant to this weekend, but it just always has been a little bit of an unhappy hunting ground for us. Now, we got good news today. In Jurgen's press conference, he said that Dominic and Darwin should be good to play. Whether they're ready to start is a completely different question. I would guess Darwin might start. I don't think Dominic will. I think we could see Dominic coming on about 60, 65. So With a bit of luck, that'll mean a start for Bobby Clark. So we could go Clark, Endo, who's back in training, which is great. Clark, Endo, and McAllister in midfield. So that's pretty strong. You could go Diaz, Darwin, and Gakpo in attack and rest Harvey, maybe bring him off the bench, but he put in 3 enormous shifts in the last 3 games, so he might need a bit of a break. Defensively, Robbo's back in training as well, so other than Matip and Trent, we've pretty much got a full complement of defenders. So it could be Bradley or Gomez at right back. It could be Robbo, Costas, or Gomez at left back. And at centre back, we've got 4 options: Virgil, Ibu, Jarrell Quansah, and Gomez. And obviously Ali is still out, but we knew that anyway. It looks just getting the 2 lads back, it makes things look a lot better, especially given they are 2 of our better players. But that's a strong team that you're comfortable enough with going to Nottingham Forest. And Mo, Klopp said he's on his way back, but not ready for this weekend. So fingers crossed he is good to go against City. We have a very busy month coming up. Well, a very busy kind of 17 days coming up. We play Forest tomorrow. Then on Thursday, we're in Prague to play Sparta in the first leg. That's a 5:45 kickoff. Tomorrow's a 3 p.m. kickoff for those that aren't aware. Then on Sunday the 10th, we play Manchester City in a bizarrely timed 3:45 kickoff. Then we're away to Sparta. Then we're home to Sparta in the second leg. Then it's United away in the FA Cup. That's a 3:30 kickoff on the Sunday, on St. Patrick's Day. And then we play Brighton on the 31st of March after the international break. Now, the positive thing is that we play City home, Sparta home, and United is only up the road, so not a whole lot of travel once they're back. And Forest isn't far away either. So other than the flight to and from Sparta, there's not a whole lot of travel involved in the month, especially the Brighton game's home too. So that will at least save on travel and air miles and all that kind of stuff that can have effects on players' health and fitness. But it's a big, big month. It could, like, by the end of this month, we could be in an FA Cup semi-final in the last 8 of the Europa League and potentially 4 or 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League, because obviously we play City, and if we beat City, we're already a point ahead of them. We would go 4 points ahead of them now, pull up the rest of their games for this month and see if there might be another opportunity for them to drop some points, which would do us the power of good. So they play United this weekend. You would expect them to beat United comfortably, given it's at home. Then they've got the second leg of their Champions League round of 16 game. That's at home to Copenhagen. They're already 3-1 up. They're already basically through. So you'd imagine they'll manage their way through that one. And it gives them an extra day's rest ahead of us as well, which could have done without. Then it does get interesting. So after they play us, then they play Newcastle in the Cup. But then their last game of the month is Arsenal at home. Now, even if they beat United and beat Arsenal, if we beat them, we would end the month 4 points clear of City. We're 2 points clear of Arsenal at the moment. They will beat Sheffield United. They will beat Brentford. Then they play Porto in the Champions League. Then they go into a long break, 19 days off before they go to the Etihad. And if they lose there, we would be 4 points clear of City and 5 clear of Arsenal. And that could be massive. That could be absolutely massive. because after that, you look at Arsenal, they've got Luton home, but Brighton away, tough. Villa home, tough enough. Wolves away, tough. Spurs away, really tough. Bournemouth home won't be easy. United away could be critical. United might need that win to just secure Europe. And United can pull off fluky results. And then they've got Everton. If they lose to City, it's going to be really, really hard for them to catch up, because I don't think they win all of their last games. I just don't see it happening. Now, they will have a Chelsea game at home to make up as well, because Chelsea are in the cup, so that game is called off. So they'll have that Chelsea game at home to make up. Chelsea are just a weird team. You don't know what one will turn up. If the one that plays against City turns up, they could beat Arsenal. Arsenal are just City light, really. And Chelsea have been good against both City and Arsenal this year. So there's a possibility they drop points there. They could drop points against Brighton. They could drop points at Wolves. I think they'll drop points against Spurs. I think they could drop points against United. Whereas you look at City's run, then they have Villa home. That's tough. Palace away, they'll win. City home to Luton, City will win. Away to Spurs, again, that's one they very easily could drop points in. They'll have to make up a game with away to Brighton. That's a tough one. They've got Forest away, Wolves home, Fulham away, West Ham home. The Tottenham and Brighton games, I could see them dropping points in, because they're away against good teams who have had some success against them in the past. Spurs have had a lot of success against them. So if they're 4 points behind us and they've got a couple of really tough games ahead, that doesn't lead to them keeping maximum points either, in my view. And you look at us, and when we come out of that Brighton game, and obviously we'll have to make up the derby, but I think we go to Everton and win. We've Sheffield United at home, win. United away will be tough. Palace home, win. Fulham away, win. West Ham away, win. Spurs home. That's easier than Spurs away. Villa away will be tough, and Wolves home. You're only really looking at the derby, and that's the United and Spurs games for us, and I think we can win 2 of them. And if we do that, we'll win the league. If we can beat City, and City can beat Arsenal, or even draw with Arsenal, a draw might actually be better for us. A draw would actually be better for us. We could be in a really, really strong position by the end of this month. We just have to take care of our own business. And when you look at the fixtures, like there is, the United Cup game will be tough, but the City one could define everything. If we can win that game, it really does set us up to win the league. And this team, unlike some Liverpool teams, not recent ones, not Klopp era ones, but, past teams like the Rodgers one, this team has such a strong mentality and such strong leadership. And by the time we play Brighton at home, you would hope that Trent, Curtis and Ali are all back, or, one or two, if not all 3. Then the rest will follow. And then I think the hope is that Jota's back around the Crystal Palace game. Now, obviously, we'd still have 2 more FA Cup games to put into that. City will have, 1 FA Cup game. City will likely have 1 as well. Maybe 2 if we get through to the final. Same with them. There's European games to be added in, but that's the same for all 3 teams. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be busy. But if we beat City and Arsenal, as long as Arsenal don't win, as long as Arsenal don't beat City, if that game ends either with a City win or with with a draw, and a draw actually is the best result for us, then we're in phenomenally good shape. Phenomenally good shape. We could have significant leads over both. And then we just need to hold on. This is Anfield. They have a piece up about Jayden Danns, piece about Dom and Darwin being back. There's a piece about the schedule in in March that we've just been over. The Forest manager wants the best version of Divock Origi for Liverpool reunion. No, thank you. We'll have the worst version of Divock if that's okay. Forest fancy their chances with key Liverpool absences, but have abysmal weakness. Well, they can't defend. That would be one of the weaknesses. They've got bad goalkeepers. They've got some talented centre-backs. They just don't play them together. They've got mediocre fullbacks. They do have potentially a brilliant midfield in Dominguez, Sangaré, and Danilo, with Gibbs White as a 10 in front of them, or playing it as a diamond. It would be a fantastic midfield. One of the best in the league outside the top handful of clubs. And you play Awoniyi and say Elanga up front as a 2, Awoniyi for the size and the power and the finishing, and Elanga for the pace. Defensively, it's fairly easy to put them together in a decent defence. If you play the right players, you could play Niakhaté at left back, Murillo and Oma Bamidele as the 2 centre backs, and say Nico Williams as the right back, launch Nico forward to attack, have Elanga drift to the left to fill space there, and play the other 3 as a back 3. I mean, that to me that makes a lot of sense, but they're playing Felipe, who's dreadful. Genuinely, utterly dreadful. They've changed manager obviously this year. They removed Steve Cooper, who'd done an amazing job getting them promoted and keeping them up. But they decided it was time to change, and they were probably right. At that point, they were probably right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Klopp regrets Luke Littler and Liverpool kids comparison. Would like to eat my words. After 2 18-year-olds guided Liverpool to victory on Wednesday, Jurgen Klopp compared them to dart sensation Luke Littler, something he now wishes he didn't do. I don't feel I have to protect them, I know it. You're all not ready to do it, so somebody has to ask for it. Oh, he was saying he was kind of hyping them a little bit too much in that comparison, which, you know, it's fair. It's fair to walk it back and protect these young players, protect them from themselves as much as anything, because I think we do a great job at keeping them grounded, but, you know, it can just happen where players get they get wind of the hype around them and they start to believe the hype around them. And we've just seen yesterday a gentleman who believed all the hype around him for many, many years get suspended for 4 years for failing drug tests. Jurgen Klopp makes plea to Liverpool's successor, and it's crucial he is not ignored. It's a piece about De Zerbi, a piece about Endo, a piece about Mo. Big credit to him. Virgil van Dijk names unsung Liverpool player of the season contender. I assume it's Joe. He's pictured with Joe at Ebu, but I assume it's Joe. There's a piece about Michael Edwards and Xabi Alonso. There is a piece about Bayern wanting Andy Robertson. Chelsea myth debunked again. Yada yada. Cody Gakpo. A piece about Jim Ratcliffe being very strange. Who was Virgil crediting? Yeah, Joe Gomez. He has been really, really good this year. Okay, AnfieldIndex.com. There is a piece about a potential bid on the way from Saudi for Luis Diaz, which I personally would be in favour of accepting. There is a piece about Darwin and Dom being back and Mo still being out. There's a piece about Kenny. There is a piece about Caoimhín Kelleher and his future. And there's a piece about Jay Reid finally roaring down the morons who keep shouting at Joe Gomez to shoot. Stop doing that. It's dreadful stuff. We only have the one new podcast since post-match Raw after the Cup final, and that is A Scouts or Tommies with Jim and Jay. So give that a listen. There is a Scouted on the way out today, and there'll be the press conference pod. Guy just isn't well, so unfortunately things are just a little bit slower today, but he'll be fine. I think it's a vomiting bug, or some sort of weird Scandinavian thing that he has because he lives in Iceland. Who knows? Right, that'll do, folks. I will see you all on Monday when hopefully we're still celebrating the Reds being top of the league, Carabao Cup winners in the 6th round of the FA Cup, and of course in the Europa League. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
Sports Social Podcast Network.